to light my smoker, I just throw a little bit of dry grass trimmings down inside the smoker that I rake up after I mow the yard. A little bit of paper, wad it up and stick it in there, light it. I want that paper to be burning pretty decent. And then I'm going to drop in just a little bit of grass trimming so that smokes up good. Give it a little bit of a puff. You can actually see the flame shooting way up high. Once you get to that point, get a good handful of grass trimmings and shove in there. Smoke it up some more. You need that nice thick smoke. And just keep packing in the grass. You can actually shove it in there so it's pretty packed in. Give it some puffs, make sure it's going to take. Close your lid down, and you're good to go. Now I'm going to throw my gloves on. Okay, everybody, so these two hives are the two that I keep out here in the woods, and I robbed the queen from them a short bit ago, and I want to know if they have created a new queen and if she's come back mated or not. So that's what we're going to be checking for right now. Take off the inner cover. Well, I can already see the answer to my question here. So here in the camera, you can see right here's a queen cell. There's another small one down underneath. And then another queen cell, another queen cell, another queen cell. There's several queen cells. There's another one up here. There's two more down along the bottom here. These big peanutty looking cells actually have queens in them. So I'm gonna pull out some of these frames. What I don't want is to have a bunch of queen cells in here. If there's, let's say, 12 queen cells and all 12 of them hatch at the same time, that means I'm gonna have 12 virgin queens running around fighting one another and causing a potential for a virgin queen to take off and swarm, taking half of these bees with her. I don't want half the bees leaving, so I'm going to probably only leave 2 or 3 queen cells in this hive. I'd rather crush the queen cells and not have a swarm than let them all take off and do whatever they want. But first, I gotta see if there's queen cells on any of these frames. Because even if I crush the ones on the inner cover, there could be another dozen of them hidden inside the hive. This frame right here, nothing but honey. Solid honey. Some of it's capped over, some of it's not. Let me check the next one. There's a little bit of brood on here. This is actually a medium frame. They just extended the comb on it. I don't know if the camera can pick that up super well, but the frame actually stops right here. They drew out the comb to make it a deep frame. And there is a queen cell at the very corner over here. There's actually 3 queen cells, 4 queen cells, 5. There's 5 queen cells here. I'm going to break these 5 off. And I just use my hive tool and smash them up good. That way they are not going to repair them and save those queens. Okay, so now we don't have to worry about those ones hatching. And this very last frame, I believe they're just starting to draw it out. Yeah, this last frame is mostly foundation, the plastic foundation. A little bit of comb up there. So what I'm going to do with this top box is, it's called staggering. I'm going to stagger the frames, These are the only two that have drawn comb on both sides. The rest of these do not have drawn comb on them. So I'm going to slide one drawn comb frame over. I'm going to take out the other one, and I'm going to put two blank frames with just non-drawn foundation. It's just a plastic foundation. And then I'll set the frame that has the honey on it right beside that. Reinsert this other one. So what that's going to do, since it's honey and honey on both of these frames, the bees will fill these two out quicker, and they'll also fill out the one on the adjacent side of the honey frame quicker than if they were all just pushed together. It causes the bees to work faster at drawing out that comb when you stagger those frames. So I'm good with that. I'm going to give these a little more smoke here. And I'm going to take this top box off. Give a little smoke on the bottom board. Drive my hive tool in between the boxes and crack it free and lift it right off. Now when I take a box off, I just set it on top of the hive cover. I don't want to set it flat down on the ground, otherwise it's going to cling to all of the grass and dirt, and it's going to get all kinds of debris mixed in it. So I set it on the hive cover. Gonna give these bees some smoke to get them to go down inside there. And what the smoke is doing, it's not hurting them, it's just blocking the smell of pheromones. And in the wild, when the bees sense smoke, they're kind of in like resource mode, and it's going to cause the bees to drop down into the hive and start eating some of that honey and pollen and taking some of the stores into their body, so that if they have to take an emergency flight to find a new home, they're taking resources with them. So let's see if we have any queen cells down here. That is just partially drawn comb. What do we get here? A little bit of brood, no queen cells. Man, there's a lot of brood on this frame. This is a really good brood frame. And there's several, man, I want to say 9 queen cells, maybe more than that. So these queen cells here, and it's hard to tell probably on the camera, these are darker than the ones that are on that inner cover. The ones that were on that inner cover were more recently capped over, and as the cappings get older, they darken up. So these queen cells will hatch sooner than the ones on that hive cover. The darker cells hatching sooner means that if these queens come out and maybe swarm, when the other ones that are older come out, that could cause a second swarm. These are the ones I want to keep. I want a queen sooner than later, but I certainly don't want 9 or 10 of them. So I'm gonna scrape a capping off this one. It's hard to see, but there's kind of, you can kind of make out the queen body in there. A little bit bigger bee, not fully developed yet. There's a few of them. I'm going to just scrape them off here. I'm going to keep some of these in here. There's 3 in a row there. I'm going to take, oh, there's 4 in a row. I'm going to scrape them off. Usually when I do this, I try to leave the biggest queen cells that I have here. So there's 2 nice ones here. There's a 3rd one on the frame still. I'm going to use the queen cells off this frame and keep them in this hive. So it's going to be the ones on the inner cover that I'm going to end up destroying. Now if you have other hives that you need queens for, or let's say you need to make some splits, be the perfect opportunity to take a frame from this hive and put it in those splits. And you won't have to wait the 16 days or whatever for that queen to redevelop. You've already got developing queens. There's one queen cell on this one, not anymore. 2, 3, 4. Man, they just made a ton of queen cells. This was a good hive. We're probably well over 20 queen cells in just this one hive, so I'm glad that I'm making this check. There's no way that all of these queens would have hatched without swarming. I've not seen any virgin queens yet, which is good. Put that frame down. That very well may have been the last brood frame. Yeah, now we're on to pollen and honey stores. So, I'm going to slide this frame back in here. We'll put the boxes back together. And I left 4 queen cells in this box on the bottom. There were none in the top box. So now I'm going to crush all of the ones up here that I can find. And this may seem wasteful to some people. I don't have a need for all these queens. There's no way that I can guarantee I'll be here when they hatch. If that were the case, I might let them hatch and catch these virgin queens and use them, but there's no way I can guarantee that I'll be able to be out here with working. So I'm just going to go through, break as many of them as I can quick. Let's see, are there any more? Kind of wave my hive tool around to get the bees moving out of the way. Yep, there's one. Okay, I think I got them all. Nope, one more. That's crazy how many there are. Okay, so these bees will not go queenless. The first queen that hatches out of all those queen cells that I left in there, she will go around and actually kill the other queens. So the strongest queen ideally will go around, kill the other queens so there's no competition, and take over the hive. After about a week, she will probably go out on her mating flight and come back and start laying eggs just a few days later. I'm gonna hop over to this one now. Do pretty much the same thing here. And let's hope that this hive is just as calm. Man, the ants are terrible this year. They don't do any harm to the hive. I just brush them off because it's annoying. Using the hive tool, prop off the inner cover. Take a look here. Now there are no queen cells on this inner cover. It looks like maybe there was one here. If there was, it's either hatched or was destroyed. Ah, yep. It was built right down into here and it's no longer viable. Flick it right off. So, let's give them some smoke and look at the frames here. Looks like I'll have the opportunity to stagger these frames just like I did with the other one. I would almost always recommend you start with an edge frame, but if you have blank foundation frames in the center, I always start with a blank foundation frame as long as it's easy to remove. Because the queen will almost never be on blank foundation. This is honey and nectar. This is a heavy frame, full of honey and nectar. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 queen cells. I'm gonna break 1, crush it, leave 4. Oh, there's a ton on the next frame too. I'm going to break all of them here. No queen cells. There's 2 on this side. I'm going to just get rid of them right now. There's actually 3. So I've got 2 good queen cells here. I'm going to leave them. And since there's brood there, I'm not going to stagger this side. I'm going to keep them close together. I don't want that brood to get chilled. I'm going to bump over here to the other side. When I say chilled, I don't want that brood getting cold overnight. Those bees will have to work extra hard to keep it warm. And we're having some cool nights right now. That's freshly drawn wax, packed with honey and nectar. So that I could stagger. Same thing, freshly drawn comb, honey and nectar. So I'm going to push that off to the other side here. Drop these 2 blank frames in place, and they will draw those 2 out pretty rapidly. Get some more smoke around the hive here before I pop the box off. I don't know if the camera can pick that sound up, but when you break that seal on the hive, those bees generally get pretty upset. They hear that loud crack and it shakes things up pretty good for them. They know their world is about to be shaken up. Okay, I see some brood, so odds are we're going to have more queen cells. I'm going to start with an edge frame here. Hardly even drawn out yet, but they're working on it. Set it off to the side, work my way across. Just some empty cells. Lots of space for the queen to lay once she gets mated and comes back. Same thing here, no brood. Definitely no queen cells. There's some capped over drone brood and some regular worker bee brood. Show you the difference here. The worker brood, it's all this. It has a nice flat surface to it. There's a queen cell there. That's only the 3rd queen cell in this hive now. And then you look at this brood over here, and it almost looks popcorny. It pops out. And that is drone brood. It looks so different because the drones are drastically larger than the worker bee, so they just need more space to develop. The downfall is the varroa mites that come in here and give the bees the disease and sickness and suck their blood. It prefers that drone brood because it has so much more space for the mites to live in until they hatch out. Okay, here's a queen cell right here. That one's actually going to hatch sooner than the others, I believe, because it's considerably darker and starting to get a dark end to it. And usually when they darken up like that, they're close to their hatch time. So I'm definitely going to leave that one, because she might hatch sooner than later and just go around, kill the other queen cells, and take over the hive. No queen cells there. And the rest of this just looks like honey. So we're going to call that good with this hive inspection. I don't want to be in here any longer than I have to. It's getting towards evening. Going to close her up. Put this inner cover back on the exact same way that it was facing when I took it off. Hive cover, and that's how we do it.